Hello, welcome to your IELTS Speaking Part 1 practice session. I will be acting as your examiner today. I have randomly selected 5 questions from the sheets you provided, covering a mix of difficulties, preferences, importances, and habits. We will go through them one by one so I can give you tailored feedback and a band-boosting sample answer for each. Here is your roadmap for today. 1. Do you think learning English is difficult? 2. Do you think it's important to have enough sleep each day? 3. What do you dislike about parties? 4. How often do you go traveling? 5. What's the most difficult subject you have ever studied? Question 1 of 5. Do you think learning English is difficult? Whenever you are ready, please type your answer below. Once you reply, I will analyze your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation/flow tips, and provide a high-scoring sample answer.
It can be difficult at first, especially when it comes to pronunciation and vocabulary. However, the more I practice, the more confident I become. So I think consistency is the key to improving.
That is a really solid start. You did a fantastic job structuring your thoughts. Here is my feedback on your response, followed by a way to elevate it to a band 8.0 plus level, and then your next question. # examiner feedback, fluency and coherence, 7.5. Your response flowed very naturally. You used great transition words like however and so to connect your ideas logically. Grammar, 8.0. Excellent use of the double comparative structure. The more I practice, the more confident I become. This is a high-level grammatical feature that examiners love to hear. Your tenses were also 100% accurate. Vocabulary, 7.0. Nice phrases like, when it comes to, and consistency is the key. Tips to level up. To push this into the band 8.0 plus range, try to include some more idiomatic language or a specific detail to show off your vocabulary. Instead of just saying difficult at first, you could use the idiom a steep learning curve, or say you had to get the hang of it. Instead of just pronunciation and vocabulary, you could mention a specific quirk of English, like silent letters or irregular verbs. Band 8.0 plus sample answer. To be honest, yes, it definitely has a steep learning curve at the beginning, especially with English pronunciation because words aren't always spelled the way they sound. However, I've found that the more I immerse myself in the language, the easier it is to get the hang of it. So in my view, staying consistent is absolutely crucial. ##. Question 2 of 5. Let's move on to the next question. Do you think it's important to have enough sleep each day? Take your time, and when you're ready, type your answer below.
Yes, definitely. I think it's crucial. Getting enough sleep helps me stay focused in class and give me more energy throughout the day. If I don't sleep well, I find it much harder to concentrate. I remember what I have learned.
Another fantastic response. You're natural at structuring your thoughts, and your grammar is exceptionally clean. Here is my breakdown of your response, some tips to make it shine even brighter, and your next question. # examiner feedback, fluency and coherence, 8.0. You answered directly and expanded beautifully. Your transition into the conditional scenario, if I don't sleep well, was incredibly smooth and gave your answer great depth. Grammar, 8.0, spot on. Using first conditional, asterisk, if I don't, I find asterisk to state a general truth is grammatically precise and natural. Vocabulary, 7.0. You used solid academic words like crucial and concentrate. Tips to level up. To nudge this into the band 8.0 plus bracket, try replacing common phrases with more expressive, idiomatic English. Instead of gives me more energy, you could say it helps you recharge your batteries. Instead of harder to concentrate, you could mention experiencing brain fog or feeling groggy. Instead of remember what I have learned, you can use the verb retain, e.g., retain information. Band 8.0 plus sample answer. Without a doubt, I'd say it's absolutely vital. Getting a decent night's rest is essential for me to recharge my batteries so I can stay sharp and focused during lessons. On the flip side, if I'm running on empty, I suffer from major brain fog, which makes it incredibly tough to retain anything I've studied. Question 3 of 5. Let's switch gears to something a bit different. Here is your third question. What do you dislike about parties? Whenever you're ready, let me know what you think.
To be honest, I don't really enjoy crowded parties because they are usually too noisy. It's difficult to have a proper conversation, and I prefer spending time with a small group of close friends.
You are doing great. That was a very relatable and natural answer. Here is my feedback on your third response, followed by some vocabulary upgrades, a band 8.0 plus sample, and your next question. Examiner feedback, fluency and coherence, 7.5. You expressed your preference very clearly and gave a strong logical reason. There was a tiny repetition, prefer, which in a spoken exam might just sound like a brief hesitation. Grammar, 8.0. Your grammar is flawless here. You successfully paired the infinitive to have with difficult and used the gerund spending correctly after prefer. Vocabulary, 7.0. Good use of words like crowded and proper conversation. Tips to level up. To push this response into the band 8.0 plus zone, we can swap out some of the more common descriptive words for higher level idiomatic expressions. Instead of too noisy, you could say the noise is overwhelming, or that you can barely hear yourself think. Instead of small group of close friends, you could refer to this as an intimate get-together or a low-key hangout. Instead of parties, you can use large social gatherings. Band 8.0 plus sample answer. To be frank, I'm not a big fan of massive parties, mainly because the noise levels can be quite overwhelming. When the music is blasting, it's almost impossible to hear yourself think, let alone have a meaningful conversation. I much prefer low-key hangouts or intimate get-togethers with a few close friends where we can actually catch up properly. Question 4 of 5. We are on the home stretch. Here is your fourth question. How often do you go traveling? Whenever you're ready, type your response below.
To be honest, I don't travel very often because I am usually busy with school. I normally go on short trips with my family during summer or public holidays. Traveling helps me unwind and retrain after studying for a long time.
That is a wonderfully structured answer. You explained the how often, not very much, the when, summer/holidays, and the why to unwind perfectly. Here is my feedback on your response, a quick vocabulary correction, and your final question. Examiner feedback, fluency and coherence, 8.0. Your response is incredibly coherent. You answered the prompt directly, provided context, schoolwork, and gave a clear reason why traveling is beneficial to you. Grammar, 8.0. Great job. Your sentence structures are clean, accurate, and easy to follow. Vocabulary, 7.0. You use the word unwind, which is a fantastic natural band-boosting verb. Spot the slip-up, retrain. You mentioned, traveling helps me unwind and retrain. Correction. The word retrain means to learn new skills, like training for a new job. In this context, you likely meant recharge, as in recharge your energy/batteries, or refresh, to make yourself feel fresh again. Tips to level up. Instead of busy with school, you can say you have a demanding academic schedule or are swamped with schoolwork. Instead of short trips, try using the phrase brief getaways or weekend escapes. Instead of studying for a long time, you could refer to a grueling semester or weeks of intense study. Band 8.0 plus sample answer. To be honest, I don't get to travel as often as I'd like because I'm usually swamped with schoolwork. Typically, my family and I only go on brief getaways during the summer break or public holidays. Still, those trips are essential because they help me unwind and recharge my batteries after a long, intense period of studying. Question 5 of 5. Final question. We've made it to the last question. Let's finish strong. What's the most difficult subject you have ever studied? Whenever you're ready, type your final answer below.
I say physics is probably the most difficult subject. I have studied some topics involve complicated formulas and calculations, so they require a lot of practice. Even so, I enjoy learning it because it's interesting.
What a strong finish. Physics is indeed a notoriously tough subject, so your choice is incredibly relatable. You did a great job of contrasting the difficulty of the subject with your genuine interest in it. Here's the feedback for your final response. A quick correction of a minor slip-up, and your band 8.0 plus sample answer. # examiner feedback, fluency and coherence. 8.0. Your answer was very cohesive. Using even so to transition from the difficulties of physics to why you still enjoy it was brilliant, and showed great control of discourse markers. Grammar, 7.0. Almost perfect but held back slightly by a small slip-up at the very end of your sentence. Vocabulary, 7.5. Strong collocations like complicated formulas and calculations fit the topic perfectly. Spot the slip-up. Into interesting, you wrote, because it is into interesting. Correction, this was likely a quick typo. You can say, because it is so interesting. Because I am really into it. To be into something means to like it. Tips to level up. To push this into a band 8.0 plus score, try elevating your academic vocabulary. Instead of difficult subject, you can call it a challenging academic discipline, or say it is notoriously tough. Instead of complicated formulas, you can use intricate formulas or abstract concepts. Instead of it is interesting, you can say it is absolutely fascinating, or it explains the inner workings of the universe. Band 8.0 plus sample answer. Without a doubt, I'd say physics is the most challenging subject I've ever tackled. A lot of the topics involve incredibly intricate formulas and rigorous calculations, which demand a massive amount of practice to master. Nevertheless, I still find it absolutely fascinating because it basically explains how the physical world works, which makes all the hard work feel incredibly rewarding. Overall practice wrap-up, you did an outstanding job today. Across all 5 questions, you consistently demonstrated 1. Clear structure. You never gave simple yes or no answers. You always expanded with reasons and personal examples. 2. Excellent transitions. Words like however, on the flip side, and even so make your speech feel natural and professional. 3. Strong grammar. Your use of conditionals and comparative structures is already at a very high level. Keep working on swapping out common words for more precise idiomatic vocabulary, and you will be fully prepared to ace your speaking test. Best of luck with your studies.